that's all behind me. Grown too strong, I don't go down easy. Living for Christ the best I can. I'm a Jesus girl. All the way. I'm a Jesus girl. You changed my heart. I'm a Jesus girl. Ooh, fall forward, up and over. If I go, it's only higher. No matter where I stand, it's always on the Lord's side, 'cause I've been reading.
What's up, guys? It is Wednesday, so y'all know what time it is. It is time for the Wednesday's Word for Women show. Yes, I am so excited. I sure hope your day has been flipping along fantabulously. Your week, matter of fact, has been rocking this entire planet. I hope that you are out here killing it in the game, showing up as your highest version of yourself, and that you are dictating what kind of day you're going to have, because we understand that our attitudes, reactions, and responses is our responsibility. No one gets to dictate to us if we're going to have, a bad day or not, regardless of circumstances or who we got to be around or what we got to go do, because we understand we get to dictate how we show up. We may not be able to control that which is around us or who we got to be with, but we can control how we respond, react to that thing or to them. So that's why we can say we don't have to let nobody kill our vibe or steal our joy on no day of the week. So yes, and remember, we are people that grab a hold of those things that we are grateful and thankful for, because that just does something good for the soul. And when you think about, something that you're grateful for, it just shifts the mood. And so anyway, I'm going to hop right into it. I missed you. Thank you guys all for the condolences and everything you have done for me in this difficult time in my life, and with the loss of my mother and with other things that are going along. And so I thank you so very much. I felt your love and your prayers, and I am so appreciative, and I need them, continue to need them. And so don't ever think that your prayers, your inboxes, your texts, I was just thinking about you. Don't y'all ever think that it is in vain or it is wasted. You never know what you do when you're reaching out to someone, because in that moment, you don't know what they're struggling with. And so thank you guys. I sure love you all. And so today I want to talk about, I think one of the saddest waste of time is waiting. Hold on. No, I'm not talking about the waiting that we are all going to have to do. I'm not talking about the waiting and patience we need to grow mature. I'm not talking about the waiting and the patience that we are all going to have to do to mature. I know that we have to learn how to wait well. And part of life is, waiting. Part of life, and your life dependent on how you wait is going to be impacted by, your emotional intelligence. Waiting can be a wonderful classroom to prepare you for that which you're waiting for, or it can be a miserable space that you just want to get out. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about this waiting that we are doing, for freedom in our lives and in our souls, in our mental health. This waiting that we are giving the power to another for apologies or acknowledgement or validations of, you hurt me, that was wrong. There is no power in an apology, y'all. There is no power in an apology. Yes, you want it. Yes, it's good for that to be acknowledged, the wrongs. Yes, but you cannot wait to then process and move forward without that apology. We're waiting for some things that is killing us, and we're going to be waiting till we die. Like, you know, you don't need another's permissions or another actions to be free from a thing. This word, Wednesday's word for women, and the fellas, hello, love you always in the delegation, is not about the weight. It's about freedom. Boo-boo, you don't have to wait on nobody, a word or an action to be free. We are held in shackles and in chains mentally, can't get forward, can't do what, you know, we want to do, are all over consumed and obsessed with getting a word from someone, putting that power in someone else's hand. Boo-boo, ain't no power in an apology. You can get free today. You hear me? You can get free today. They don't have to acknowledge. They don't have to say. They don't have to. We're giving people too much power. We're putting our freedom in people's hand that can't a bit more handle it. If they could handle it, they would have did the thing that was wrong in the first place. But you and I wait for those people to give us permission to be free and move on. Do you see how crazy that sounds? We are living lives that way, y'all. We are missing out on so much. We are stuck. We are stagnant. We are having all these issues because we are waiting. We are putting the power in another's hands for our freedom. Look, I love what Nelson Mandela said when he was walking out of prison. Remember Nelson Mandela, he was in prison for 27 years. He was in prison for 27 years, this fighter for freedom, because he would not bow to the power. So he decided that he was going to take that freedom. You know, he was going to be free to make the decision. You're not going to make me do such and such, and so I will go to jail. So he was already free, you know, before he got in there, but that's another story. But he spent 27 years in prison fighting apartheid. And this is what he said walking out. He says, as I walked out of the door, I knew that I would, out of that gate, and he was, you know, you walk out of the prison, he was walking toward the gate that would lead to his freedom. He'd been locked up for 27 years. He said, I knew if I didn't leave my bitterness and my hurt and my hatred behind, I'd still be in prison. Let me tell you something. Freedom isn't about proximity. Freedom isn't about the power of another. Your freedom is not tied to anything. Your freedom is tied to you and what you do with the thing. So freedom actually is based upon you, not them. You can be in a place, locked up, shackled, but free in your mind. If you are free in your mind, if you are free in here, if you cool in here, then you won't need a token or an action or a word for you to be okay. Do you hear me? We have to stop waiting, putting our freedom in another's hands. I can remember one of my favorite movies in the 80s was St. Elmo's Fire. I know some of you are too young or you don't know, it wasn't your genre of movies, but this was a 80s movie, and it had all the stars of the 80s Rat Pack. And so Demi Moore, she played this character, Jules, and she was the cosmopolitan 80s woman. She was the one who had a wealthy father. So, you know, she was jet setting and all that, had a fabulous job. All this, always dressed to the nines, always the, you know, buying gifts and all that. But there's a scene in the movie towards the end as she led this fabulous life where she broke. She was sitting in her apartment with the windows open. It was winter. It was cold. She was trying to freeze herself to death. And so her friends, you know, are trying to get to her, and finally one gets to her. And she said something that I think is a picture of what some of us are waiting for. We're waiting for this before we get on and live our lives. We're waiting for this. And so this is what she says as she's sitting there rocking back and forth, freezing. And she says to her friend, you know, she got fired. And what she's been doing on her days she's supposed to be going to work, she's been going up to the hospital to sit with her step monster, is what she called her stepmom, who was in a coma. You see, this girl was trying to find out why her dad hated her so much. What did she do to him? She had led her whole life. Everything she did, everything was driven by, if you would just say that you love me, if you would just give me something, some validation, some acknowledgement that you care, or that you are sorry for what you've done to me. If you would just do that, then I can then go on and live my life. Let me tell you something. That was a movie, but this is somebody's real life. They are playing this role. Perhaps it is you, waiting for, if they just say sorry, if they just acknowledge the pain they caused me, if they just validate my pain. It's cool to have it, but you don't need it. Let me tell you something. You have God-given power in you to get over and get through anything, and it's not tied to anyone, her, him, them. It is not. And so I have this acronym that I wanted to throw out, but I want to ask you something. Do you understand that you can be okay without that? I'm not denoting the fact that we would like those things and it's a good thing, but let me tell you something. You can get closure on your own. You don't need nobody to close the door. You know what? You got a hand, you close that bad boy yourself. Figuratively, but you know what I mean. You don't need no one. Closure, I don't know what what does that mean? Because that means that I need you to help me get past this thing. If it ain't a therapist, what you need them for? It's good to have it, don't get it twisted, but I'm saying you cannot base your healing and your getting over a thing based upon closures, or you can't go forward. So what if you don't get it? So you're saying you're going to sit stuck and stagnant and hurt and tormented in your mind and bitter and angry and hatred? You're going to sit with that, and you're going to keep that until they say sorry. Girl, boo, boy, boo. No, I don't think so. That is not what you have to do. Because here's the thing. When you do get it, there is no magic in an apology. Because if you get the apology, then you say you can move on. You could have moved on without the apology. There's no magic in the apology. It's in your mind and what you think you need. So it doesn't magically undo what was done, does it? That apology does not magically undo what is done, and you still got to do what you got to do to get through it. So you can't base your freedom from a thing, your freedom from the hurt, your freedom from the getting done wrong, your freedom from whatever that thing is based upon someone else giving you the apology or the validation or acknowledgement of what they did to you. So POWER, my acronym, POWER, P.O.W.E.R. This is what we are going to do, because we're going to take our freedom back, because I'm free indeed, okay? You free indeed. So what we're going to do is get free, not base it upon, it's good if they do, but I'm going to be cool if they don't, and get through this mess, because it is the biggest waste of time waiting for an apology that there's no magic in. You got the magic. You got the power in you. There's no power in that. The power is still in you, or what you do with what's happened to you. So power, you first must understand, get it in your mind. Okay, I'm going to prioritize my freedom. I'm going to prioritize my freedom. That's the P. The O, I'm going to open myself to the pain. Some of us are not dealing with the pain, and so that's where the bitterness and all that stuff comes from, because this mess is just eating up, it's poisoning your soul, it's the unforgiveness, it's just eating, it's poisoning you. So you have to open yourself to the pain, and that doesn't take that person or that thing or acknowledgement from whatever. You open yourself to the pain, and some of us need to simply say, ouch. that hurt. That sucks. Open yourself to the pain. Feel it. You are not going to die from the pain. You won't. It might feel like it, but you won't. And if if the magnitude of that hurt and pain is too big, you can get someone to sit with you in the pain as you open up the pain. You have people. That's where your circle or therapist or psychiatrist or therapy or whatever your wise counsel, whatever, if you don't think. But I believe that we can all, God has given us the power. He's not making it dependent upon you and I for the power he's given me. But it is sometimes truly needed. And I get that because I've needed it too. So just open and sit in the pain and then work the kinks out. And when I say work the kinks out, this is what I mean. Why do I think I need the apology or the acknowledgement or validation to move on? Because that's a me thing. Why do I think I need their apology to heal or move on and deal with this? That's working out the kinks. And then evaluate the situation. Is it a valid need? And if so, how do I get it on my own? So perhaps you find out something like, yeah, well, I need this to move on. So then your thing is, well, then how do I get that? How do I do that? And then the R is rest. Rest in your decision to move on without the acknowledgement and validation and be okay. Rest in the decision. Take comfort in, find strength and power in you saying, okay, I am going to move on and deal with this without that. There's a power, and then you see your strength as you work through that. You might not feel it now, but you will. And so power, prioritize freedom. Open yourself to the pain. W, work out the kinks. E, evaluate the situation. R, rest in your decision to move on without it. I'm going to be all right anyhow. Some of us, you just need to say, you know what, I'm going to be all right anyhow. I don't need that. It would be cool if I had it, but I don't need it, and I'm going to be all right. And so, my dear sister and my dear brother, understand there is no power in the apology. You can get free today because you have a God-given right to be free. You don't have to wait on anyone for that. Be blessed. It's time for Ask Pastor Champagne, and I will see you all next week. I'm so glad to be back. I hope to hear from you guys. Post a comment, an email, a text, whatever for Ask Pastor Payne, and I will get you on the show. Thank you guys so much. Love you. Biggest fan. Bye-bye.
Pastor Champagne Lloyd. One of my questions for this evening is going to be, do we really believe? Do we really believe what we say when we say greater is he that is in us than he that is in the world? Do we really believe that we can change the world? Do we really believe that we have the power that God had, or Jesus had, when he, raised people from the dead? We're supposed to do the same things he did and greater, but are we doing that? And if we're not, why are we not? Do we even believe and understand that we fight from a place of victory, not for victory? Do we understand that the battle has already been won and we are victorious? And one of the reasons that I ask that is because in our prayer time, what are we saying? Are we saying things like, God, I know you're going to. God, will you? God, I know. When will you? Can you? Different things like it's going to happen. Don't we understand that everything that is going to happen has already happened? It's already done in the spirit. It's already finished. When he died on the cross, he said it is finished, which means it is complete. It's it's closed, it's sealed. So there's nothing that he's going to do. Everything that is going to be done has already been done. Now, what I believe is that when we speak those things in reference to it not being done, then we're not opening up the floodgates. We're not opening up the avenue for the manifestation of what has already been done to be shown down here on earth in a tangible manner. So in that case, I'm saying, are we lined up in connection with the truth of his word, or are we just saying things because we can, just quoting things because we can? Or do we really, really believe in our hearts that it has already been done? Thanks.
That was a great question, Teshlane. She's asking why, if we truly believe what we say, why do we keep asking? If it's already done, why does our verbiage make it seem like it is not? Like, do we believe in the finished work of the cross? Well, two answers to that. I mean, the obvious one, she pretty much tapped on everything, but sometimes, yes, there is this thing where you don't believe what you're saying. You're saying it out of habit. You're saying it because it's the right thing to say. But on the flip side of that, that there are things that we have not because we ask not, or, ask and it shall be given, seek and you shall find, knock and it shall be open. So, to receive, we have to ask, to find, we have to seek, to knock, to have it open, we have to knock. And so there's like 78 Bible verses more really on asking. So I don't think the problem is the ask, because you have not because you ask not, but it is the spirit in which you're asking. Are you asking it with the spirit of expectation, expectancy? Are you asking just to ask? Are you asking with doubt? And there's nothing wrong with doubt. The guy says, I believe, but help my unbelief. Sometimes those ask are, you have doubt, but it's okay. You can help. You can ask for help. And the finished work of the cross, yes, it is finished. It is already done. But there are things that we have to do. We have a part to play. You have to ask. That's the communication. How are you going to get the desires of your heart that he says he will give you if you don't ask? I think the main thing is in the spirit and expectation and expectancy of the thing you're asked. Do you believe? God ain't tripping about no questions or how you ask, but what he is saying it's impossible to please me without faith. Do you believe that I can do this, or I can be this, or I can grant this, or I can move this? That's the thing. The ask shows our faith. I'm petitioning you. I want you to do this thing. And so there's nothing wrong with the ask. It's everything wrong with, do you believe in the one that you have asked? I mean, even our salvation we had to ask for. So there's nothing wrong with the ask. It's the spirit and expectation and expectancy. Do you think that he's able to do this? And if you are, some of us, yeah, we are, but do you believe he's able to do that for you? And so it's not the ask, it's, do you have the faith for him to answer? So I hope that's my spiel. You said what you wanted to say. I just added this little caveat to what you said so beautifully. So thank you. Hope I answered.
Jesus,